As you can probably tell from the facial hair on my face, I've unfortunately left the intended target audience of Pokemon games, but in 2013 I was in that age range, which means I joined just in time for Pokemon X to become my first Pokemon game, hence the profile picture. Since then, I've indulged in all of the Pokemon games pre-2017, because I didn't buy a Nintendo Switch after the disaster of buying a useless $300 brick called the Wii U. Before Nintendo sues me, yes, I have a Switch now. Since this YouTube channel is one big excuse to try new games, I think it's time we bridge the divide between the handheld portable consoles with 2 screens, and move to the one with only 1 screen instead. Let's see what the new generation of Pokemon games has to offer by going through Pokemon Shield together for the first time. And because I've stayed intentionally pretty detached from the discourse surrounding this game, we can find my true, unbiased opinions together. I boot up the game, contemplate playing it entirely in French, mais finalement j'ai créé mon personnage en anglais. Évidemment, je suis en fille. I wake up, dazed and confused in my room. Something about the unbeatable champion being on TV? Who cares. Anyways, our friend Hop and the champion, who we were just watching, show us the ropes to the Pokemon series. I pick the best starter, it's the best because it's the one I chose, name him Brennan, and fight Hop for the first time.
You already know about type advantages? No way!
Pay attention to this line. I'm sure they're never gonna say it again. We win the battle and go check out a forest called the Slumbering Weld, where we encounter an undamageable Pokemon. Huh? I actually knew about the song that plays in this part of the game before playing it, because some Game Rant article said that the song that plays here is the best Pokemon song of all time. I'm sorry bro, but what the fuck were you thinking? We move along to meet the professor, who's just fucking old and needs to be replaced, so she sends her granddaughter Sonia to pick up where she left off. While we're at the lab, us and Hop are graced with wishing stars, which conveniently sets us up for some exposition about the Dynamax system, because apparently with these stars we can do that now. Dynamaxing is a new battling feature in the Switch games, so I'm just gonna cross that road when we actually get to try it out. After that debacle, me and Hop fight again, eager to get a letter of approval from Leon saying that we have enough potential to take on new gyms. Why was this necessary? Isn't a system that only lets those who are chosen by the top fighters join inherently really fucking stupid? Jeez, I wonder why Leon's unbeatable. Regardless, we somehow prove that we're worthy enough to take on gyms, so we say our last goodbyes to our mom and take the train to Motostoke. Well, actually only a part of the way there. Apparently some Wooloo are blocking the... Fuck! Apparently some Wooloo are I can't fucking speak. Apparently some Wooloo are blocking... That's the 4th time in a fucking row. Apparently some Wooloo are blocking the train tracks, but that's okay, because it means we get to learn about the wild area. This place is... weird. It's cool to see this sort of camera control and level of open worldness, but the game just doesn't look good here. I catch 4 Pokemon here, Pancham, Rookie D, Yamper, and Nickit. Why am I encountering a level 31 Haunter an hour into the game? We'll talk about this like adults, Nintendo, don't worry. We make it to Motostoke and style up my character real nice.
Why did it cut to me? Amanda has to look like a pretty princess every once in a while, okay?
Apparently this isn't where the first gen is, we're just doing the opening ceremony, so we're given a hotel room to stay the night in. In that hotel, we meet Team Yell! Ah! We beat up the grunts in the hotel lobby. What happens to not being able to fight indoors? And discover that another gym challenger, Marnie, is their leader. The next day approaches and we go on stage for the grand opening. I actually kind of like this framing story-wise, and it gives them a cool opportunity to show how good they can make their Switch games look. So, overall I'm fine with it. We fight Hop again, and he congratulates our ability to use super effective moves on him. I'm sure he's never gonna say that again. We make our way through some routes, fight a new pompous character named Bede, and make our way to the first gym in Turffield. I don't know if I picked up too many Pokemon or something, but I was very underleveled for this gym, which actually becomes a common theme for every gym past this, which was a little annoying. In the fight against the Grass-type gym leader, I used Dynamax for the first time. If you don't know, it basically enlarges one of your Pokemon for 3 turns, giving it higher damage output, health, and a set of powerful moves to use. This mechanic is fine. I think I prefer Mega Evolution because I oftentimes just found myself trying to outlive the opponents when they were Dynamax so that I could Dynamax one of my Pokemon instead and have an easier chance of beating them. Ultimately, this isn't really a bad mechanic, I just think that Mega Evolution was better. Additionally, I think that this is only a problem that would only ever really exist when you're fighting against AI though. The mechanic itself is pretty fresh and cool for real Pokemon fights. While I was yapping about the Dynamax feature, I spent 30 fucking minutes leveling up my Pokemon. Admittedly, it was mostly my fault for not getting a Fire-type Pokemon, so I actually don't hold that fact too hard against them, but it still just wasn't the most fun start to the game. Regardless, we beat the first gym and move on. On our way to the next city, we fight Hop again, and he laments that he should have known we would have figured out type advantages by now. I'm sure that now that he said it 3 times, and the player has presumably been playing for 3 hours, he's gonna stop saying that, right? Right! We make it to Holbury and meet Chairman Rose, who's talking to Bede. Bede tells him he won't lose to anyone. Bro, the person who beat you is right here. Learn to shut up once in a while, jeez. Him and his assistant tell us to meet with him after we finish the second gym, so let's do it. We go into Gym 2, which is a water type one, complete the puzzle, and stomp Nessa with ease. We meet with the chairman, his assistant, and Sonia in the restaurant. Rose talks about unleashing the power of the wishing stars and getting a deeper understanding of the Dynamax phenomena. I don't know if this is because I'm more media literate now, but it was obvious to me at this point that he was going to be the villain. Okay, I wrote this into the script genuinely being curious about this question, but yeah, I've got the answer. Pokemon games have just always been this obvious with their villains. In Pokemon X, they literally gave Lysander this song to introduce him. I was just a dumb kid. Let's move on. We enter a cool atmospheric cave, fight off Bede, L, and some more Team Yell members. The plotline of Team Yell at this point is incredibly confusing, but I knew that they were supposed to be bad guys, so okay. We meet Kabu, the Fire-type gym leader, who is conveniently training up until the last moment before people are going to start challenging his gym. I wonder who else has done that from videos on my channel. Oh my fucking god, he's great. If you didn't get that joke, go watch the Monster Racers video. We make it to Motostoke and fight Marnie, who essentially acts as the leader of Team Yell, though she doesn't really seem to be leading anything and doesn't approve of what they do. This plotline is so confusing. We take on Kabu in the third gym, beat him with ease due to picking the best starter in the game, and move on to the wild area again to make it to the next gym. As we make it there, Hop gets challenged by Bede, so we move on without him. As we make it to Hammerlock, we learn that Hop got fucking destroyed by Bede and is taking it pretty hard, so he's gonna have to prove himself to get out of his emo era. We gain some lore about this thing called the Darkest Day from Sonia and learn that there's 2 heroes or something that saved the day. The Darkest Day was apparently some bad thing. I don't know, the plot of this game is just so fucking bad, and we're never the ones to discover anything. It's always someone else, so I never actually felt accomplished playing it. Regardless, we move away from Hammerlock, because that city actually houses the 8th gym and not the 4th, and we fight some Team Yell members, who are just begging for an excuse to stop trainers from making it to the next gym. Why? I think I get it now. I think that they're trying to get Marnie to become the champion by preventing trainers from making it to gyms. That's, fine. What happened to criminal organizations having bigger aspirations? It's fine, I'm sure that will come whenever Chairman Rose becomes evil. I arrive at Stolenside and take on the 4th gym leader, Alistair, who is a ghost type. One cool thing about this game is that depending on which game you play, you actually get a different gym leader here. It gives you more of a reason to buy both, so it's cool with me. As we exit the gym, we see Bede trying to destroy historical artifacts to collect wishing stars. No! So we beat her in a battle, and she gets suspended from the gym challenge by the chairman. The chairman was the one who literally told her to get the wishing stars, and this was the logical conclusion of being told to do that by the most powerful person in the country. So yeah, obviously he's the bad guy. We move on to the 5th gym in Ballonlee, which is a fairy type, and we beat her pretty handily, so we go back to Hammerlock to try and move on to Sirchester. Bede is going to become the fairy type gym leader now for some reason, and the minor earthquake in the center troubles us, but the adults tell us not to worry and that they will handle it. Fine, don't include me in the story. I never wanted to be a part of it. Hop is out of his edgy era from losing to Bede and wants to fight us again. Don't fucking say it. Okay, thank God he actually didn't say it this time. We make it to Sirchester, which houses the Ice-type gym. This is another gym that changes depending on if you're playing Sword or Shield, so if I was playing Pokemon Sword, I'd actually be fighting a Rock-type. We win, and we move to Spikemuth, which houses the Dark-type gym. But the entire place is closed off. Marnie and her troop of Team Yell members show us a way in though, but we're only allowed if we show our worthiness by beating Marnie, which we do of course. This is probably the second most frustrating part of this game for me. Team Yell is literally just a bunch of Marnie fans. They essentially don't do anything bad ever besides things that could potentially stop Marnie from losing. The 7th gym's puzzle is literally just beating up a bunch of Team Yell members, which ends up feeling like a really stupid way to finish the story because these people have been set up as villains since the beginning of the game, and they literally are not villains. Good move, Nintendo. At least the 7th gym leader was a cool rock band guy who didn't use Dynamax. It's a pretty cool fight, and it has a nice atmosphere, so I dig it. After concluding the second worst plotline in the game and beating the 7th gym, the Spikemuth City reopens, allowing everyone to participate again, so let's move on to our final gym. But first, there's some more crazy ground trembles and kabooms to deal with. Actually, we're just gonna let the adults handle it again. Why aren't we involved in the story? Let us play as the adults if it means we actually get to be in the fucking game. I get that they're going for some sort of big reveal ending, but it was just so obvious to me that Chairman Rose was the bad guy that, like, not being involved just kind of felt like torture. Like, there's a story here. Can I read it? Anyways, it's time to fight the final gym, which has the unique twist of being a double battle. Raihan is fleshed out as a pretty cool character, and the gym is good, so no complaints. After beating him, I go to the wild area and catch a 6th and final Pokemon, ultimately deciding on Doublade, which is for some reason at level 56.
56!
For the record, my highest Pokemon at the time was level 47. The wild area is a fine concept, and I believe that they fleshed it out much better in later games, but it fucks with the game's balancing super fucking hard in this one. Me catching this one Pokemon let me win almost every single battle after this, because the Pokemon we fought didn't catch up till the champion battle. I get that the players are the one who choose to use the Pokemon in the wild area, but it seemed like Pokemon also actively incentivized it, at least for my playthrough, because every Pokemon I had was under level to some extent from the first gym all the way to the end of the game. Balancing is something that Pokemon has never quite gotten right. God, don't remind me of Heart Gold Soul Silver, but you'd think that they'd have a better handle on it by now. And moving on. We travel our way to Winden, which houses the Pokemon Championship. In most games before this, we got some nice Victory Road with cool puzzles, but I guess they decided to drop that in favor of just adding a bunch of meaningless trainer fights in a row. A little anticlimactic, but who cares. In the Championship Cup, we start by battling Marnie. This is good? I was so sick of the Elite Four members being characters we had never heard of, and I even mentioned in my Monster Racers video that I really enjoyed them bringing back characters for the end to make the story more impactful. Good job! Next we fight Hop. Don't fucking say it!
Or is he just that lucky? Dude, seriously, the last fucking fight of the game, and he's still saying, "Oh, I knew you'd be going for a super effective hit." Yeah, no shit.
Why did you write him this way? After beating him, we've completed day 1 of the Champion Cup Finals. We arrive at the hotel that we intend to stay at for the night and wait for Leon so that we can go to dinner. But he isn't arriving. What's happening? Is the plot finally happening 10 hours into the game? Yes. We hear news that Leon is discussing with Chairman Rose in Rose Tower. We try to make our way there, but there's a bunch of goons trying to stop us. Fear not, however, Team Yell has come to help. They really weren't antagonists at all? The only story they successfully pulled off to this point has been, oh, these bad guys are preventing people from going to gyms, but also, they aren't bad guys. And also, they're actually good guys. Wait, I don't know what's going on. Eventually, with the help of a surprise rock concert, we make it to Rose Tower, which is essentially a comically large building that houses tons of mega corporations. Oh god, these writers are gonna try and talk about capitalism now. We then fight about 1 million goons, all representing different companies and different industries. All of these trainers have the same Pokemon, and all of them are weak to fighting, so this entire sequence becomes super anticlimactic if you have a single fighting Pokemon, but other than that, it's kind of okay. When we make it to the top of Rose Tower, Chairman Rose's assistant comes to fight us. We win. Okay, now it's actually time for the plot. As bad as the writing has been in this game, this part is actually kind of fine. Chairman Rose is essentially planning to respark the Darkest Day, as he predicts that the Galar region will lose power in 1,000 years, and is asking Leon to make the announcement, but Leon won't budge. What? Chairman Rose is a capitalist who cares only about profit over human life and wants to respark a catastrophic human event to ensure the security of his energy company's profit? What? This can't be! Good writing! This is writing that I can actually get on board with. If only we were clued into this 5 fucking hours ago. Still, we try to convince him to stop, but nothing happens, so we plan to continue the Champion Cup Finals on the following day. We stomp through Bede, who came out of the woodworks to fight us, stomp Nessa, crush Alistair, and beat Raihan. Now it's time to go against Leon and become the champion. What? An anime moment? The chairman started the Darkest Day! We make our way back to the place with the best music in all of Pokemon. Saying that just makes me fucking laugh. Pick up a sword and shield, and then make our way to Hammerlock, where Rose awaits us. We fight him, beat him, and move on to Eternatus, the Pokemon that ends all Pokemon. We kill him, but a bigger enemy takes its place. A Pokemon that cannot be damaged. We use our brains and pull out our sword and shield, which spawns 2 legendary Pokemon to come help us fight the big Eternatus. This fight is really cool. It was so refreshing to see an actual boss battle in a Pokemon game. Unfortunately, the movement is completely ruined by the fact that we don't control the legendary Pokemon at all, and they did 90% of the damage. Nonetheless, it's still pretty sick, and I have no complaints outside of that. It's just a little anticlimactic, you know? We beat Eternatus, the Legendaries escape back home, and we've officially saved the day. Now we get to beat Leon, which proved way harder than I thought it would. It took me a whole 45 minutes to beat him because my highest leveled Pokemon was lower leveled than the lowest leveled Pokemon he had, but eventually we triumphed, making us the champion. Now it's time for the credits to roll. Alright, let's conclude with my final opinions about the game and Nintendo's first step into Pokemon games for the new console. But first, I want to start by saying that, despite the critiques I'm about to lay out, this game was fun to play. Pokemon is Pokemon, and if you actually enjoy the game, every single game is going to be fun the first time you play it. Unfortunately, this game has a couple of things that just really irk me and make me reconsider whether or not I should play the rest of the series. First, the story and the pacing was just trash, at least in the way that it was presented to us. This game has a story that seems like it'd be fun to read a wiki about, but you spend the first 10 hours of the game completely excluded from seeing anything that would make that wiki enjoyable. And when you actually start being involved in the story, all the trainers are the same, we have no control in the matter because we started too late, and we save the day but don't actually do anything in the final fight. Basically, the story sucked. Second, the lack of an actual bad guy organization was just really annoying. Like, why? I can understand that it might have felt too formulaic to have another Team Flare or Team Galactica or whatever, but if that was the case, then why include one at all? Apart from these two things though, and the bouncing issues, the game is fine. The animation and graphics kind of improved. The wild area looks terrible, but some of the cities pull off some cool effects like in Battle Lee, and it's certainly better than whatever Pokemon X had going for it. The music and aesthetic is about as good as it's always been, and the battling system wasn't completely ruined. And also, I suppose I appreciate the added accessibility of telling us what moves are super effective too. Oi, did you just use the super effective move? Shut the fuck up, Hop!
That's the video. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing. I know the audio quality is dog shit, I apologize, but also I spent 30 hours making this shit. I'm too lazy to finish it. Please!